some super simple banana bread that is delicious. I hope you enjoy it, and let's get started. Alright, so step 1 is to preheat your oven to 180 degrees Celsius or 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Now we're going to start with the wet ingredients. So firstly, peel your 3 ripe bananas. And then mash them up as well as you can. It's fine if there are some little chunks, but you want it to be pretty well mashed. Now we are going to add in the maple syrup. So we have 1/3 of a cup of maple syrup. And this is instead of using sugar, so there's no refined sugar in this recipe. The only sweetness comes from the bananas and the maple syrup. And then we're going in with 1/4 cup of oil. Here I have some cold pressed walnut oil. You could pretty much use any oil that hasn't got too strong of a taste. So the oil here is actually really important because we don't have any eggs and we don't have any butter in this recipe. So the oil really helps to bind everything together and to help it rise and taste like a normal banana bread. Now we are going in with some vanilla bean extract, just 1 teaspoon of that, and then we stir it all together. And it should be quite a runny consistency. Now onto the dry ingredients. We start off with some white spelt flour. I've got 1 cup plus 3/4 of a cup. I like using white spelt flour because it goes quite fluffy once you've cooked it, and it's just got a bit less gluten than regular flour. But if you are gluten-free, you could definitely substitute this for a gluten-free flour. It might not be as fluffy as my version with the spelt flour, but it would still work fine. So now we're going in with 1 tablespoon of hemp seeds. Got a decently heaped tablespoon there, just for some added omega-3s. And then we've got baking powder. So I've got 2 teaspoons of baking powder, and that will help it rise. And then we've got cinnamon, so I've got 1 slightly heaped teaspoon of cinnamon for flavour. And then just a little pinch of salt. So now we stir that all together, get it well incorporated. You want the baking powder to be well incorporated with the flour so that it rises evenly. Okay, so now it's time to mix the wet ingredients and the dry ingredients together. So I put in half of the dry ingredient mix into the wet ingredients, and then you combine that well. And so then you put in the last bit of the dry ingredients and stir that all up. You really want to make sure it's well combined so that there aren't any pockets of flour in the mixture. And by stirring it, you also get some air into the mixture, which means that it will rise better and be fluffier. So here you can see the texture. It's not too thick, not too thin. It's really just a great consistency for banana bread. So now we are adding in some mix-ins. This is completely optional, but I think it tastes delicious with some chopped dates. I've got about 6 Medjool dates there that I've chopped up. And then I've also added in some walnuts. So it's about 10 to 15 whole walnuts in there. And then just stir it all up together. Alternatively, you could use sultanas or some choc chips. You could also use almonds or any other type of nut that you like. So here I have a baking tray that I've lined with some baking paper, and we just pour all the batter in. So then you just want to spread out the batter in the pan so that it all rises evenly. Now it's time to put it in the oven. So I'm setting an alarm here for 1 hour. Don't forget to set the alarm because it is very easy to forget about it because it has to be in for a whole hour. So now we just have to wait. My timer has just gone off, so it's time to take the banana bread out of the oven. So, as you can see here, it has risen significantly. It has a bit of a crack down the middle, which I love. And yeah, I just leave it to rest for about 5 minutes in the pan, and then I'll transfer it over to my wire rack to cool. And now for the taste test. This one turned out so well. The texture is literally like bread, and the dates taste so good. So it's a great recipe, pretty easy to make. Just an hour in the oven so you can go off and do other things while that's cooking, and then you have this delicious loaf of bread. So I hope you have a great day. I hope you enjoy trying this recipe out, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye!